everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Niche Pursuits podcast. I'm your host, Spencer Hawes from nichepursuits.com. And before we jump into today's episode, I wanted to tell you a little bit about Ezoic. Ezoic is an ad platform that I have been using on my Niche Site Project 4 site, and I've been very happy with it. Ezoic is a Google award-winning technology that everyone from niche website owners to major brands use to grow and monetize their websites. Ezoic is also a Google certified publishing partner. The platform leverages artificial intelligence to learn from website visitors with the goal of providing more personalized experiences that will improve on-page experiences, which is session length, while also optimizing revenue and monetization on a per visitor basis. The Ezoic platform features everything from intelligent website analytics to advanced automated visitor segmentation tools that allow publishers to improve visitor experiences and increase overall website revenue. Overall, there really are some big benefits to using Ezoic. It's more than just an ad platform, but it truly is a platform that allows publishers to implement sophisticated ad operations and monetization practices on their websites using advanced artificial intelligence. This allows publishers to manage as much or as little as they want. You simply drag and drop ad placeholders, and Ezoic will help automatically test thousands of ad partners, ad locations, ad types, and control ad density. This means Ezoic optimizes revenue and engagement for each unique visitor, maximizing the revenue publishers earn. If you want to go and check out Ezoic, you can go to nichepursuits.com/Ezoic. Again, that's nichepursuits.com/Ezoic. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Niche Pursuits podcast. Today, I'm excited to have Matthew Woodward from matthewwoodward.co.uk on the podcast. Matthew and I have interacted quite a bit online over the years, but this is the first time that we've had a chance to hop on a call and chat. I hope that you'll find it as interesting as I did to hear more about his background and how he got started making money online. Matthew has a huge amount of knowledge with anything SEO related. So today we jump into how to do an SEO audit that can dramatically increase your search engine traffic. We also dive into some specific on-page SEO tips that you can implement as well. Overall, I hope you enjoy Matt's story and the business advice that he has to share. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Niche Pursuits podcast. Matthew, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm good. Thank you for having me on.
Excellent. Yeah, it's great to connect via the podcast. I've been reading your blog for a while, and I understand you've been reading Niche Pursuits for a little while. So
yes, years.
Good. So it's finally, it's great to finally get on a call, chat, and sort of build the relationship a little further.
Yeah, it's funny that we've not connected before. It seems we've both been watching each other, but not actually speaking to each other. So yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we've exchanged emails and things, but it's not quite the same. So before we jump into kind of what you're doing right now with your business, can you give us a quick background on some of your business and work experience previous to building websites?
Well, I mean, previous to building websites, I guess delivering newspapers, which only paid for the server to build websites. So before building websites, no, I can't really tell you much about that.
Not a whole lot of official employment.
I guess I made some money competitive gaming when I was younger, which led me to building websites. But otherwise, I mean, I've been building websites since I was delivering newspapers, quite literally. Before YouTube, before Google, I mean, I was using Notepad. So
nice. So, what sort of took you that direction? Why did you decide that you wanted to be building websites? Yeah.
Well, just I'd always kind of played with computers. I was a PC gamer when everyone else was a console gamer. We were few and far between. I'm talking original Counter-Strike, Unreal Tournament, those kind of days, 33K modem. And I got involved in competitive gaming, and people were making kind of demo videos of their best highlights and things like that. And just to put it in perspective, for us to create a video, we had to use video out from our PC to a VHS player. We hit record on the VHS tape. Some of you might not know what that is that's listening. and then after you'd finished recording, you'd have to put it back to video in on your PC, press record on the PC, and press play on the VHS. That's how we captured the video of the PC gaming at that time.
Old school.
Yeah. And this was before YouTube, so sharing videos was not easy. We literally had to create FTP logins for people to upload videos because PHP just couldn't handle it at that time. So I was building websites before I knew you could make money with websites. That didn't really click for a little while after.
Yeah. So did some gaming, did some videos, built some websites. When did it click, or what was sort of that first dollar that you made, or that first, sort of online business venture that you had that, made some money?
Well, I was always interested in sales growing up. My dad was one of the best car salesmen in the UK and kind of passed his sales stories and manager stories down to me. So, I was always finding some way to make money in school with Pokemon cards or whatever it was at the time, just following the trend. So that naturally, with my web skills, led me into doing marketing online and specifically in e-commerce. And I got jobs doing kind of data entry for that kind of work, and ended up heading up teams for major e-commerce campaigns with big major global brands with great success. Corporate world's not for everyone, certainly not for people that tell it like it is and don't really mince their words too much.
Yeah.
Us type don't fit in there. So that led me to doing my own thing. And while I was doing a whole corporate thing, I was doing huge things in referral marketing for like free gifts, like free iPods, free whatever it was. If anyone was in affiliate marketing at that time, you might have remembered, you get a free iPod if you get like 12 referrals kind of thing. And that's really where I started to make decent money and led me to quit the corporate world.
Okay. How are you generating your traffic to these sort of CPA or, affiliate offers that you had?
Okay. Well, everything was through SEO and just ranking sites. It was a lot easier then than it is today. And the offers, the affiliate offer, the main affiliate offer that made the most money was that if I could get like 10 people to sign up to this offer, I got a free iPod Touch. At that time, it worked out each person I got to sign up to this offer made me $30. Well, the offer that I had to get people to sign up to was a Love Film DVD rental trial. Anyone from the UK will know what that is. You signed up on a website, you said what DVDs you wanted, they sent them in the post as a rental with an envelope to send them back, and that was it. But if people signed up to the free trial of that, which cost absolutely nothing, they got 2 of their favorite DVDs for free.
Nice.
And I got $30.
Wow.
So the offer was like irresistible. It was, while it lasted, we made a ton of money, and all of it was through SEO traffic, ranking the pages. We had number 1 for free iPod Touch, free iMac, free MacBook Air,
wow.
Free. You name it. You think about it. We had multiple sites and rankings, and absolutely cleared that up. And it was sites like that really allowed me to cut my teeth away from the corporate world. And things kind of got out of hand from there.
Yeah, very cool. So SEO, I've always known that SEO is sort of your core competency, if you will. You've been doing SEO for a long time, it sounds like, from even the very beginning there. But maybe let's fast forward now and tell me about your business now. Clearly you're still doing very well with SEO, but for your own personal brand, but give us an idea, about your business right now. What are you involved with? And what are you doing day to day?
Okay, well, right now, lots of things. In the last year, I bought a house in Costa Rica and put my roots down here, and had a terrible time of a 6-week renovation that turned into a 9-month renovation. God damn, I couldn't work. Yeah, I couldn't work, but it wasn't even that. I couldn't work for 6 months properly. I didn't really have an office or a space, and that was a lot of distraction. And some of my readers know, but not essentially everyone knows, I had a baby last year as well, which has been great. And we live pretty close to the beach, so that was eating into a lot of work time as well. And then I actually sold a lot of my price comparison sites last year to free up some time and bring in some money as well. So the last years, there's been lots of changes.
Yeah, sounds like it for sure. Anytime you get a new baby involved, that changes a lot.
Oh, yeah. Well, new house, new baby, yeah, all of the above.
Yep.
It changes a lot and certainly challenges time.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't have really anywhere to work either, so, it's what it is. So that's then led this year to finally having a real office. I built a video studio in the house. I've actually got a real place to work, which I hadn't done really, not for about six months, and that's allowed me to really get a focus back on lots of capital from sites sold and looking at what to do. So right now I still got a few older cash cow sites that chug along nicely. I recently built 3 niche sites that are all aligned to well, you know what happens when you give away niches and sites. So,
yes, I do.
They're all aligned to sustainability. They're all they're all aligned to that.
Okay.
In one way or another. And actually, I got a great domain yesterday with links from World Wildlife Fund. I guess if you guys are building niche sites, I hope you're building them on expired domains that have got awesome link profiles. If you're not, I guess I'm going to get some follow-up questions in there.
That's a great way to jumpstart, right?
Yeah, right. It's like you can build a site on a virgin domain with no links, or a domain that's got a ton of links from high authority places.
Right.
Now you have to be careful that you don't get too greedy, because it's easy to see an attractive domain and it's the anchor text that are pointing to it aren't that relevant. But if you can find kind of a generic branded domain that's got generic branded anchors to it that you can tie to your niche, yeah, it's absolutely great. In your niche site example right now, for example, I might go over to Spamzilla and in there just type shed or yard or garden or and just see what there is.
Yeah.
Have a look through the backlink profile. If it looks legit and it looks relevant, yeah, absolutely, you should be building your niche sites on those. Quite often you can find them for the exact same price as registering a new domain. So, yeah, you should be doing that for sure.
Yeah. So good tip there. So you've got, a few niche sites, and then obviously MatthewWoodward.co.uk that I know you're putting a lot of time. Like you said, you've got a video studio now. You're doing a lot more on YouTube, obviously writing content there. So I assume that's kind of where you're putting most of your time, or how would you clarify that?
In terms of my time goes across managing everything. But in terms of the team's time, we're building niche sites out one every 6 to 8 weeks. Or
okay, so that's pretty aggressive then.
Yeah, we can put out between 30,000-40,000 words of content across that time, and keep scheduling them out. I've got a link building team, and we're doing outreach on an industrial scale, and that supports the niche sites and everything else is the team we use to supply links to the agency. So everything helps each other along. So we're probably going to build another 4 niche sites this year.
Nice.
And that'll take the total up to 6, hopefully by the end of the year. No, 7 by the end of the year. just to grow that side of it. And all of that's ran by one person, and they're in charge of writing the content as well. In terms of what else we work on, obviously the Matthew Woodward SEO world that you're all familiar with, hopefully. The blog, due to my distractions last year, I wasn't it slipped into maintenance mode. I wasn't really pushing it. It was kind of just like what was a bare minimum to keep it ticking kind of thing. And it had slipped in a number of ways. So the first task of the year was to do a renovation on the blog, mostly focused on helping people solutions to their problems as quick as possible. For any of you guys building niche sites, blogs inherently are selfish. They're just a list of blog posts, right? That's the default thing. So make sure you're building homepages that connect your readers' problems to the solutions your content offer as quickly as possible. It's almost common sense, but it's something I hadn't applied on the blog. So that was a big part of the renovation, and that kind of mantra was the approach that we took to it.
Yeah, very good. And you do a good job of connecting with your readers and providing solutions. I'd like to give our listeners a sense of how well your business is doing. What can you share that will help people understand the success of maybe both sides of your business, your niche sites versus MatthewWoodward.co.uk? Okay,
well, we'll start with MatthewWoodward.co.uk. I mean, the success of that blog's a complete accident. I never intended it to go how it did. But for anyone that wants to follow it, the entire progress of the site was documented from day one, every month for 5 years. So like you've been publishing your niche updates monthly. I published essentially a niche update every month for 5 years. As income reports, and that showed how how everything grew from literally zero, to $1.2 million in profit.
Wow! Congrats.
Yeah, I never expected it to go like that. And that's just the blog. The blog's then allowed me to launch other things like my agency, other products, courses, and, so the total's well beyond that. At the time that I stopped publishing income reports, it was making around $25,000 a month in profit. Cash cow affiliate sites are pulling down similar numbers, and hopefully all the sites that I've been building this year will turn into some healthy numbers in the very near future.
Yep, just keep increasing those numbers for sure.
Yeah, and then I can share some of those sites and case studies and learnings through the blog, which will help people there. And yeah, hopefully all the dots will connect each other and elevate everything. That's the plan.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I see it very similar, right? With my blog is I can use a lot of what I'm doing with my niche sites for the content I'm writing for my blog, and they sort of feed off of each other, and hopefully everything goes well.
Yes, yeah, hopefully. But it's not. You see, I've been very shy of talking about niche sites and sites with people because of experiences like you've had.
Yep.
Now we've found a way to, we'll see if you found a way to deal with it.
yeah, we'll see. I mean, I do think Google's getting a little smarter. Like some of the things that happened with my early niche site projects, I don't think would have as big an impact now, but certainly there's always going to be copycats. I'm just increasing my own competition. So there is definitely a downside, right, to revealing, but hopefully overall it's a positive experience, right? That, maybe my site's not going to do quite as well because of increased competition, but maybe my blog, people will feel a better connection there because I have been so open, right? And so it helps my blog, if nothing else.
Yeah, and as a reader, all of that's much appreciated. We're all watching with intensity when those reports come out, and I'm sure, like everyone else listening, we're like, "Whoa, open it! Oh, the site's revealed! Whoa!" And we pulled it apart and we put it in Ahrefs and we did all the things. Like we all did that. Every single person listening to this podcast did that. But it's something I'm wary of. So if I was going to do case study sites like that, it would be once they were like very, very, very established, to remove the chance for people to compete. But no, thank you very much for sharing it, because we are all learning from them for sure.
Absolutely. So now that people kind of have an idea of how well your business is doing, I want to kind of dive into how you got there. And maybe specifically we can focus on MatthewWoodward.co.uk, unless you have other, examples you want to share. But I'm just kind of curious of what your high level strategy is that you followed for SEO specifically.
Specifically for SEO?
Yeah.
Okay, the blog's a bad example because that was an SEO experiment. It was, at the time, Matt Cutts kept banging on, build quality content, don't worry about links, it'll be fine, just build content. And I was like, yeah. And yeah, he was right, it turns out, because all I did was build quality content and it exploded.
Yeah.
So it was never done with any strategy, it was never done with any planning, and it was specifically part of a zero link building strategy. So talking about that is not a good example. But if we were going to talk about how I would traditionally do SEO with affiliate sites,
sure,
we'd do a lot better there. So SEO in general, I find people really overcomplicate it. It's a 3-step process. It's simple. It's step 1, technical SEO. Step 2, create content. Step 3, build links. And it seems people get stuck on each of those points. And maybe I'm oversimplifying it, but one of the biggest mistakes I see, and when I'm reviewing sites and niches, I see it all the time, is that people don't build a solid and healthy website structure that Google loves. And by that, I mean, researching the structure, the silos, the categories, how the content fits within, making sure that there's internal links, and your Link Whisper plugin, by the way, is going to change how people build niche sites over the next years. I'm absolutely sure of it.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, but it's needed it for a long time, because inserting internal links manually sucks.
Sure does.
So a lot of people skip over those very, very basic steps of building, make sure you're integrating structured data in a right way. Take care of page speed. Make sure that the user experience is there. Does it look good on a mobile phone? The basic forms of technical SEO, many people just glaze over them and are not paying attention to them.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing that
let's maybe dive into that just a little bit more in terms of specifically. I know I get a lot of questions. You probably still get a lot of questions about structure, right? Whether you call that silo structure or whatever you call it, having the right architecture of your website. Can you dive into that specifically for an affiliate website? What's the right structure? What's the right silo sort of category structure that you have?
Well, there's not a right or wrong answer to that, nor is there specific kind of advice that you can give to everyone. It depends on the niche. And as you're researching it, you'll find recurring themes within your research. And you might see a recurring theme come up often enough where you're like, yeah, that's going to be a category of content on the site. But what that recurring theme is completely different in every niche. There's not a right or wrong answer to it. So rather than, and people rely a lot on tools to automate this, just look at what the recurring themes are. Use your eyes as you learn about the niche. What are people struggling with, and how can you categorize those problems? If you're struggling with categorizing those problems, you can use tools like Cura just to come up with some very base categories and then see where the content fits in. But it really is a game of manual observation and using your noggin. That's really all there is to designing a structure. Again, people like to overcomplicate it, but that's it, right?
Yeah, no, and I agree. And maybe correct me if I'm wrong. I think maybe one problem that some people have is having way too many categories, right? They throw on 20 different categories on their site, and it's how do you even manage that well? at least to start, right? So is there like an ideal number of sort of categories that you recommend, or does that just vary as well?
Again, that varies. Some sites lend themselves to more categories than other, but you can't start where you finish. So
right.
You've got to, it might be that a niche lends itself to 10 categories. It might just be that, but you don't want to do all 10 categories at once. And then you've got to prioritize which categories you could do first. If you're going to launch a site, you should at least be launching with 3 categories, or with at least some 3 or 4 pieces of supporting content within each of those categories. If you launch with 20 categories, then you've got to have 3 or 4 bits of supporting content for each category. Now, your time to launch is like, well, now I've got to create a ton of content.
Yep.
That's about the right way to do it. Keep it simple. Don't go overboard.
I 100% agree. It's one of those things that when you and I talk about it, we kind of say, yeah, it's simple, right? Because we've done it so many times. But I do know that people listening in appreciate the additional details. Sort of be saying that, start with probably 3 to 4 categories is a good place to start, right? To get your site out the door. That kind of gives them some concrete things just because they've maybe never done it before. So that's good. So let's maybe move on to a content strategy. And again, we can talk about either your, personal brand, your blog there, or other examples that you have. But what is sort of the content strategy that you follow there?
Okay, well, the content strategy, again, this is something I find people struggle with a lot, but I tend to find that the people that are struggling with it are trying to cut corners.
Yeah.
So content is the face of your business. One way or the other, your content's going to lead to Google rankings and or clicks to your affiliate link. It is literally, the glue between the seams of your business. It's not something that you should cheap out on, and it's not something that you should take shortcuts on. With that said, creating content sucks. It's hard work.
Yeah.
And to do it to a high standard, it does take a lot of effort. So before you start creating content, you need a decent keyword research strategy, and everyone has a different kind of methodology to how they approach it. Me personally, I just steal my competitors' keywords. I'll go out, I'll find a list of my competitors, I'll use I actually have a tool that I've shared on the blog to build a keyword strategy, but essentially you just plug data into it and it automatically says, these are the keywords you should attack, and these are the order that you should attack them in. And that's how I form the basis of the keyword strategy. If anyone wants to download that sheet, just hit the homepage of my blog and you'll find it. With that in hand is the research part. And the research for content is done manually. Again, you do not underestimate the power of manual observation in SEO. Everyone's distracted with tools and analysis and big data, and just you don't need any of that. You've got Google, you've got eyes, you've got a brain. Just use them. Find out your target terms, hit it in Google, take a look at what's ranking. Are there lots of review pages ranking? If there is, you got to write a review. Are there lots of list posts ranking? If you know that, you got to write a list post. Are there lots of opinion pieces ranking? If look, what do you see? And based on what you see is how you should create your content. Look through each piece. What do you like about each piece? What don't you like about each piece? Make a list of that, and that will essentially become the specification for your content. I said it, like, keep it simple. You don't need any expensive tools to do that. And just look, use common sense. Google right now, if you do a Google search, it says a people also ask box. You might want to include some of those questions. When it comes to writing the content, if you're handing it over to a writer, which you have been doing with your niche site, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Correct.
Be as specific as possible with your request. I always give writers the headlines and the orders of the headlines. So it really removes any issue from interpretation.
Right.
If you're writing the content yourself, well, as someone that's written probably millions of words of content for the Matthew Woodward blog. Just wake up, get a cup of tea, sit down, and absolutely hammer it out. It's a long, grinding task. One of the disadvantages of starting a blog under your own name, by the way, is writing for it.
Yeah. Yep. It's a big job, no doubt. So it sounds like, do a lot of analysis, just looking at what's ranking in Google, what type of content do they have, how can you make yours better than what is already out there?
I want to interrupt you there. Okay. Sorry. Better is not word count. There's a lot of people doing like 10 times content. No, don't do that. That's not an intelligent business decision. If you look at the rankings and you see lots of pages with 2,000 words, that doesn't mean go and create a 10,000 word monster guide. It doesn't. It means create whatever the average word count is plus 20%. Don't go follow that trend of 10 times in your content and all of. There's no need. Like, look at what's currently ranking. All right, if there's loads of pages with 10,000s of words on the first page, you got to write 10,000 words.
Have fun writing that, yeah.
yeah. But if there's loads that are ranking with like 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, there's absolutely no reason to write anything bigger than that. So just be aware that writing better content doesn't mean more word count. It means more relevant.
Yes. Yep. No, good clarification. Perfect. And you mentioned, using, sort of, people also ask, right? So doing a better job of integrating those types of questions, perhaps, and other things within your content as well. One follow-up question I did have on figuring out what keywords to target, kind of keyword research there. Do you have a search volume minimum that you look at, or what's your criteria there?
Well, my sheet takes care of all of that.
Okay.
Removes anything, and it's got logic that takes care of all of that. Again, what's your minimum? Depends on the niche, man. Mm-hmm. Like, there isn't a minimum. There isn't a right maximum. There isn't a. Everyone's always looking for what is the right. It depends on the niche. Some niches will have heavy 100,000 month search keywords, but they also come with heavy competition. Some niches have heavy volume keywords with no competition. Whereas some have high-paying affiliate programs, you only need 20 visitors to make some decent money. So it really depends on what you're promoting, what is the volume of traffic in that niche relevant to the keyword that you're looking at. There isn't a right. In some cases, a 10 volume a month keyword's the right keyword to target. It depends on your individual business, what you're promoting, and well, you'll be familiar with your own business's numbers. So, it really depends.
Okay. No, I think that's some good advice, good tips there. So we're going to talk about link building in just a minute. That was kind of your third thing for SEO. But I want to jump into a case study that you did. You produced a great video on this and blog post where you shared how you were able to increase the search engine traffic with an SEO audit by 45%. So tell us a little bit about this case study that you did, and let's talk about how to do an effective SEO audit.
Okay, well, that's a great way to introduce. The sum of the SEO audit is good technical SEO, step 1 that we were talking about, and content creation, step 2. How this manifested itself in my own SEO blog was that last year was the worst year I ever had in organic traffic. My eye was off the ball. I wasn't focused on the blog. It wasn't something I was paying much attention to, and traffic, declined. I paid the price. So I did an audit, and in my opinion, if you want to increase the search traffic for anything, the first thing you should do is an SEO audit. And if you haven't done an SEO audit in the last year, I mean, you're literally losing search traffic every single day that you don't do it. The problem is SEO audits are boring, and I sent this case study out to my list, which literally shows me increasing traffic by 45% without building a single link and it got a quarter of the open rate that it would normally. So
really,
I don't know why people have this, like, even my own audience, some kind of beef with SEO audits. They're just not interested in people.
It's it sounds boring, I guess, but
if I send a
it's
link building strategy, it doubles the open rate than the average.
They're all over it.
If I'm like, hey, I increased traffic 45%, didn't build a link, no one cares. Like desert, like
right.
So I want to preface that I don't know why people are so turned off by SEO audits, but it is absolutely critical to your success. And if you haven't done it, you're losing out on traffic every single day. So get it done. I don't care if it's boring. Like, this is business. You're losing out on huge opportunities every day that you don't do it. Now, in the audit itself, there's a full 30-minute video that steps you through what I did, and I designed, because SEO audits are often very complicated, I designed a simple 5-step process that anyone can follow. So if you've never done an SEO audit before, I highly suggest you go and look at that process and you follow it, because for me, saying 45%, that it doesn't really mean anything. Let me tell you what it meant. It meant the difference between 50,000 visitors a month and 80,000. That's an extra 30,000 qualified leads.
It's huge.
It's huge. We're just, and our agency clients, it's the first thing that we do with any site. If you apply to my agency and you ask a question like, well, how many links are you going to build a month? We ain't going to work with you, because that's just full of alarm bells and not part of our mantra.
Right.
SEO audits, and especially for people building affiliate and niche sites, are something that you should be doing annually. And if you just follow that 5-step process with your niche site, don't be surprised if you see increases in your search visibility.
So can you give us maybe just quickly run down what those 5 steps are? Obviously, people can go check out your video to get the details, because I do think it is really important, but maybe you can just give us a rundown of what the sort of critical steps are there.
Well, to go through the steps would require a decent amount of time, but let me tell you some of the things that I did that had the biggest impact that you will feature in. So in one of the steps of the SEO audit was to optimize existing content. Now, I'm assuming anyone listening to this has existing content and they probably haven't optimized it in the right way. And I did it in a 4-step process. Now, one of the problems I noticed was that the page layout kind of sucked. And this was specifically relevant to me, but go and review your site. Go and look at it on a desktop. Go and look at it on a laptop. Go and look at it on your phone. Is it a nice experience? If it's not, that's the first piece of optimization you should do, because if your content's not easily digestible, well, you're just turning people off. So go and fix that first. For me, that meant that it was too wide. The readability sucked because your eyes literally felt like they had to do a marathon to get from the start of the sentence to the end of the sentence, all the way from like left to right. So for me, it meant making the page significantly narrower. You might not have that problem, but it's the first thing that you should check if you have that problem. Is my content digestible on various devices? And I had a responsive theme. I had all the things that would lead me to assume it was, but in reality, it wasn't. So that was the first thing to go and check. Secondly, within the content optimization, featured snippets, position 0, that's a huge opportunity in SEO right now. If you're not actively optimizing for them, you're missing out on a big opportunity. And I wasn't actively optimizing for them. I hadn't even thought about it when I was writing. My SEO blog was an SEO experiment in itself. So I went through all of my old posts and looked for different words like why, how, is, should, words that typically trigger featured snippets. And then went and looked, is there an existing featured snippet? If there is, how is that featured snippet presented? Is it a paragraph? Is it a list? How many words does it have? How many list items does it have? And then I replicated that on my own content.
Interesting.
So any niche site owners out there, if you've got any pages ranking on the first page of Google, go and do a manual search. Is there a featured snippet? How is that there? Why is that there? Open it. Look at the source code. Is it because the dude, let's say, for example, what is SEO? Is it because there's a H2 tag that says what is SEO? And then the next paragraph says SEO is ... 50 words. That's what you see. Replicate it on your site. If you see a list post, if you just see a list of things, how many things are in the list? How did they do the HTML formatting on their list? Was it an organized list with numbers or unorganized list with bullet points? Like, go and look at it. What are people doing? Try and steal those featured snippets. It's very, very easy to do. More often than not, those people are ranking for featured snippets are ranking by accident. So if you come and look at their accident, observe and improve, you can rank with intent and purpose. It's a big opportunity.
Yeah, that's a great tip. That honestly is not something that I've done, and I'm going to go back and look at some of my stuff for sure.
Yeah, if you're using Ahrefs, it will tell you within the tools if the featured snippets are present.
Okay, cool.
For anyone that wants to do it with a tool. Once we've taken care of featured snippet opportunities, I added what I like to call visual pop. And visual pop for me is, and it's really hard to explain visual on a podcast, but if you watch the video, I provide lots of examples within the video where I did this. But a lot of the times, the text wasn't very readable. So adding visual pop, rather than bullet points, change them for green check marks. Make use of text highlighting, make use of bolding, make use of image borders, just things that take a standard piece of content and with a few visual tweaks really make it pop and add to its readability. There's examples within the video and the post. You can check them out. The way I use it is using the name escapes me, the WP Shortcode Pro, and that just makes it easy to style lists, add boxes, add toggles, that kind of thing. If any of you use page builders, you'll be familiar with them, but this allows you to do that kind of thing in any WordPress theme. So I went through all of my posts and add a bit more visual pop to them as my styles kind of developed over the years and in an effort to increase reader time. A lot of niche sites I see lack this.
Yeah, for sure.
Often great walls of 6 lines of text, header, 6 lines of text, big image, 6 lines of text, header. Like, there's no flow to it. There's no when you're just scanning it without even looking at the words, it doesn't flow. And if it doesn't flow when you're scanning it, then you need to add visual pop, break things up a little bit. There's lots of examples in the video, much better than what I can explain on a podcast.
For sure. Yeah.
And the last thing that I did in the content optimization, and something that all of you can do right now in the time it takes for you to listen to me to explain it, it's something that you can integrate and you're going to see great results from. And that's adding a table of contents to every single post and page. To do that, table of contents plus plugin, Google it, save it, go install it. And that will install, and I'm sure some of you are familiar with it, a collapsible table of contents within your posts. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do. Yep. I've used that. Yep. Same plugin.
Okay. So if you're not using anything like that right now, use it. Not only will it make your posts more usable for your readers, but it will help you get extra site links within your Google search results, which helps increase your visibility and click-through rate. But there's not many plugins where you can kind of like install and get immediate benefit, and this is one of them. So if you're not using a table of contents right now, use it. On my blog, the way I used it was I had an intro and then a H2. I just put the table of contents right before the H2. The first H2. Feel free to go and check it out. I'm assuming that if you're using it, maybe your audience is already familiar with it, But if you're not using that plugin, go and install it right now, and you should start seeing some benefits pretty soon.
Very good. So I know there's a ton more we could talk about with an SEO audit. I want to get to a couple more things, but any additional sort of on-page SEO tactics or tips that have worked well for you that you want to share? Maybe just your top one or two there.
Yeah, I mean, well, this
I know. Again,
you should look at the audit post to see it all. But the big one that you should all be paying attention to is page speed, load time. Again, it's often like banging the same drum, but go and check out specifically how your page loads on mobile devices. Google's using the mobile first index. It essentially means it uses the mobile version of your site to judge the performance of your desktop site. So if it looks bad on mobile, it loads badly on mobile, it's not going to rank very well in desktop. So make sure that you are paying attention to page speed. I've done lots of experiments with different plugins, services, this, and the other. The quickest wins in page speed are done by installing WP Rocket and ShortPixel. They're not free. It's going to cost you money, but they are the quickest ways to increase your site speed. Otherwise, you can use Auto Optimize and WP Smush, but I've had better results with the other two, and that's what I personally use across all of my niche sites. That is often the quickest win you can have because people often take shortcuts on the cost of hosting when starting their niche sites, and these plugins kind of help balance that decision a little bit.
Yeah. No, those are great plugins as well. Great tips. Sort of the last category, and this was sort of your third point of SEO, was link building. And as you mentioned, a lot of people get excited when they hear link building, right? That's sort of the favorite topic for a lot of people in the SEO world, which may or may not need to be the case, as you've sort of mentioned, right? Like there's other very, very important things, but link building, links are still important. Google does value links. So let's talk about it. What is your link building strategy?
Okay, so links. People have obsessive compulsive backlink disorder. That's what I call it. Like they're blind to the rest of the world in SEO. And that's evident just looking at my own data from what's the most popular content and my email open rates and everything else. Yeah. So look, links are the most important ranking factor. They are. There's no arguing that. No one's challenging that. But the value of the links is amplified 10 times over when you build a solid site structure that Google loves backed with quality content. When you do that, every link you build is worth 10 times the value. It just amplifies. Building that right structure amplifies your link building effects. So it's important to consider that. Also, I was at Affiliate World last week and presented a case study. And in that case study, we took site traffic from 5,000 a month to 38,000 a month in the health niche. Now, to do that, we only built 76 links. But over the course of the campaign, the site attracted hundreds of links. The reason it attracted hundreds of links was because we'd built good foundation and good content first. Right. Otherwise, we would have had to have built all of those extra hundreds of links, which was a lot of time and money. Yeah. Because look, no one likes linking to a lemon, so don't build a lemon. With that said, link building is effective, but again, it's 10 times more effective when you've taken care of the basics first. So if you are the type of person that has taken care of the basics, you may listen to the next part of link building. And for me, my favorite link building strategy of all time is competitor analysis. Just like with keyword research, I like to see which keywords are ranking best for my competitors. I also like to do the same with link building. There's no reason to reinvent the wheel. If you do a Google search, Google are literally telling you this is the type of stuff we want to see that belongs here. So if you just look at the link profiles of your top 5 competitors and then download them and just work through the list, replicating them. You might say, oh, well, this guy got this link because he did a guest post. Cool, I'm going to submit a guest post. This guy got this link because he did a comment on this blog. Okay, I'm going to do a comment on this blog. This guy got a link because he donated to this open source software thing. I'm going to donate to the open source software thing. Mm-hmm. And you can just replicate what's working. Google are telling you these links are great because we're currently using them to rank the top 5 sites. So if you apply what's currently powering the top 5 to your one page, you see great results. The reason I love that strategy is it stood the test of time. It survived every update. It's always current because you're doing it live, you're observing with your eyes in real time. And this is a strategy I apply to every single niche site. It's often, you can do it for free. It needs nothing but time, a little bit of effort. And again, if you hit the homepage of my blog, you can download my intelligent sheets that actually build the link building strategy for you based on real world data. And that's what really works.
Yeah.
Beyond anything else, that's what brings the best results. If I'm looking at my outreach results, that's what brings the best response. That's what brings the best closes. So that's what we do. It's highly effective. And the how I do it has changed over the years. But the theory is the same. And in fact, the how, last week on my YouTube channel, I posted an updated version of the how. It's called backlink competitor analysis. Insert clicky baity end bit. I don't remember right now, but backlink competitor analysis, the latest video on YouTube, which explains that strategy and how I'm doing it right now. Nothing special, I don't feel. Again, keep. Well, that's it.
Yeah, you make it sound pretty simple, right? Just look at your competitors. What links are they getting? What links do they have to their content that's already ranking in Google? And try to get those same backlinks. Do you find that to be, certainly in some cases, like the cases that you mentioned, you might be able to get a guest post or leave a comment or, donate or do something else, right, that is fairly easy to replicate. But certainly there's, going to be a lot of links that are difficult to replicate. Do you sort of do the best you can and then skip over the ones that you can't replicate? Or do you try to sort of replace that link that you couldn't get with something else?
Yeah, you aren't going to win them all.
Right.
And again, it's a time of, you might look at something and think, wow, well, that's going to be difficult to get. But I could spend the next 10 minutes getting these other 2 links.
Right.
Or I could put an hour into getting this one. You got to think, like, is it worth it? Some links are absolutely worth it, and some are absolutely you're just not going to get. Like, you're just not going to be able to replicate.
Right.
But for the most part, you're trying to replicate as much as the top 5's linking profile as possible. And if you've built good content, you're not going to have a problem breaking that first page. And once you break that first page, you're going to start attracting links naturally. And quite often, especially in these sites, you can break the first page with a handful of links. So for me, it's a really effective strategy. It doesn't cost much. If you've got absolutely zero money right now, right, you can go and build a keyword strategy and a link building strategy using the SEMrush trial, which costs nothing.
Yeah.
And my sheets will do that for you. If you've got a bit more money, if you've got $7 to burn on a trial, do it in Ahrefs. But that's it. For the most part, most of my approach to SEO is based on observation. The power of observation is underutilized, and the more and more tools that come out and this and automation, actually it's a better for me because it distracts everyone from just using their eyes.
I love it, man.
And that's how I do it.
Yeah, I think it's great tips. I think it's important for people to realize they can kind of step back from maybe the tools, right, that overcomplicate things and just look at what are the sites doing that are already ranking on Google in terms of keywords, content, link building. I mean, Google is clearly saying this is working. I love how you say that you can just try to replicate what's already working. Don't reinvent the wheel.
Who invented the MP3 player?
Who knows, right?
Not Apple. Not Apple, right? But they made the iPod, right?
Yeah.
And they made that every successful Apple product was built on observation. Didn't reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, exactly. So I appreciate all the tips you've shared so far. I'm going to give you just one final question, let you have a chance to mention anything else that's working really well for you right now in terms of SEO or just in business in general, if you'd like to share any sort of final thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, in general, I carry the simple mantra, and you ask what's working for me right now.
Yeah.
Well, what's worked for me always is just build sites like you'd build in a business. If you were going to start an electrician firm, you'd have like $15,000 investment. You'd probably have to like buy a van and this, that, and the other. And you put a lot more effort and professionalism into it when it's a real world business. I find in the digital world, we often forget that when we're building a niche site, we're not building a niche site, we're building a business, and people don't treat it like that. So what's worked for me always is to build businesses, not niche sites, even though the business is a niche site.
Yeah.
But to treat it like that. Every piece of content you create is a tangible business asset. If you're a photographer, a tangible business asset is a lens. Like, you're going to spend $1,000 on a lens. You're going to take care of it. You're going to treat it. You're going to maintain it. And every time you create a new piece of content on your blog, that's a tangible asset for your business. And you must treat it like that. Don't try and take shortcuts. Make everything the best it can be, like it's a real brick and mortar business. And people were going to, imagine if people could walk into your niche site like they'd walk into your store. Do you want them to walk into the store and all the shelves are neatly organized and everything, all of the cereals together? You don't want like the chocolate cereal all the way on the right side and the vanilla cereal or whatever you're eating or all the way on the left side. All the cereals are in the same together, all in the same place on the shelf. Build your sites, build your businesses like you were building a real store. The two things are the same. Building real stores, tried and tested hundreds of years. You don't need to change the formula. We're just changing how we apply the formula. So what works for me right now is what's worked for everyone for centuries. Build businesses. And that's it.
I love it. That's great sort of mindset shift, probably for a lot of people listening there is they get focused on, they're just building a little niche site, right? But I love how you say, build a real business. I think that's a great
you're not
tip.
building a niche site. You're building a business and treat it like that. Yeah.
Perfect.
And that's it. Yeah.
That's great. So is there any place that you'd like to send people, or where can people go if they want to stay in touch with you?
The best way to stay in touch with me, of course, I'm a marketer. I want you on my email list. That is the best way for me to stay in touch with you. That's one directional. You'll get all the best content. If you're struggling with link building or keywords, go download my free templates. You'll be on my email list. You'll get all my best content. But that's kind of just like me talking to you. If you want to speak to me, I have a Facebook group called Inside Search. I post some of my experimental stuff on there. You can get in touch with me there. That's probably where I'm most responsive. And other than that, on Twitter. But if you actually want to reach me, the Facebook group's the best place. If you just want to hear what I'm publishing, the email list, or even subscribe to the YouTube channel, I promise you will not be disappointed with the content you're receiving.
Excellent. So people can follow along with what you're doing, or they can get in touch with you. Matthew, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the Niche Pursuits podcast.
No, thanks very much for having me. As a long-time reader, we've come full circle. It kind of feels a bit weird. So thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely. No, it's been great catching up, and we will definitely stay in touch. So I appreciate it. Thank you once again for listening to the Niche Pursuits podcast. As a reminder, this episode has been sponsored by Ezoic. Ezoic is a Google award-winning technology that everyone from niche website owners to major brands use to grow and monetize their websites. Ezoic is a Google certified publishing partner. It's a platform that leverages artificial intelligence to help you optimize revenue and monetization on a per visitor basis, and so much more. If you want to check out Ezoic, go to nichepursuits.com/Ezoic. Again, that's nichepursuits.com/Ezoic. Thanks a lot.